maybe that's the Asian in me, so I'm going to stand up and say hello to all of you. I'm going to say that the best of you should work for government. To suggest that government doesn't need the best minds, and to suggest that private sectors will save the planet is, in my view, a false promise. Okay, now I'll go to why I think, we need a different narrative. Not being an economist, I don't understand rebalancing, so please excuse me. Not being an economist too, I suspect means that I may say things that most of you will understand. But on the other hand, the other outcome might be that you might think that I have the fewest insights. Now, in terms, I don't think I have the knowledge to suggest what the Chinese government's done right or wrong. But I do think that we heard something yesterday at the lunch in Hong Kong, which is very insightful, and a deeper understanding of the world we live in, where the former chief executive said that everyone in the world, particularly the West, and I think he's referring to the USA in particular, needs to understand that, in my view, this is where China has got it right, that its rise will be peaceful and it will be based on a harmonious society. This is fundamentally great wisdom, which sadly, I think the West doesn't understand. And an American sitting next to me said, why can't our leaders be so wise? So this is, for me, the most important thing. How China will rise wisely, because ultimately it defines how the 21st century will be. So my main concerns are whether policymakers, not just in China or the rest of the world, understand the four major convergences that will make the 21st century so different from anything else. I'm just going to point out four, and then I'll say why China will need a strong state and why the best people need to also consider working for the government rather than just opening coffee shops and stuff like that. The first one is this. In the 21st century, we had some very good words about the population. But please understand that in the 21st century, the human species will, the first time in its existence, peak in terms of numbers. Some of the estimates are that it'll be about 15 billion by the end of this century. This has never happened before, and then it will decline. So the species peaks. The other thing is the population of the world is today 7 billion. We will add, if the projections are right, more people than exist today in the next 90 years, about 8 billion people. This has never happened before. So if you're thinking about rebalancing your economy or whatever the economic jargon is, you'll have to think of this major issue looming outside. Second point is that I believe is that climate, and we've heard a lot about this. This is no, whether you're a climate denier or whatever, will change the way human societies have organized themselves over thousands of years around flora, fauna, geography, terrain, everything else will change during this century. We've heard about how we might reverse it, but I think adaptation is going to be. So this changes everything about what we know. The problem, I think, is we have a business narrative that says that somehow we will have technological solutions to this, we'll have financial instruments that will solve this, and we will be, of course, going to be able to adapt. I think this is much deeper. It will change everything about the way we live. We will need tough rules, so we need governments. But it's not going to be fixed by cheap talk about green economies and innovation. I think it's much deeper. The third thing is we have reached a stage where human beings now can do almost anything with technology. Almost 10 years ago, we couldn't drill for oil in one mile deep ocean waters, deep waters. Today, we can go. Not only can we go deep, we can go sideways, we can turn around, we can do almost anything. Now, you might say, boy, this guy doesn't like technology. No, that's not the argument. The argument, though, is the ability to advance technologically has given us a deep comfort, particularly in political and business circles, that all solutions are to be found in technology. This is, as we've heard from speakers, a double-edged sword. So we seek comfort in technological solutions rather than rules. And the 21st century will need tough rules. My last point is, as we look at Asia, and we're all being triumphant in Asia because suddenly we think we rule the world, the West is in decline, we should think again. And I say this very carefully. so that no one thinks I'm anti-Western. The entire edifice of the Western economic model, which built the modern world over 2 to 3 centuries, is crumbling. And because it's based on two, three things. The first one is it's based on the relentless promotion of consumption. And I think we can argue about what kind of consumption we need to promote in China. But the relentless promotion of consumption, buy one, get one free. So we've got the Chinese families, one child, 2 cars. Okay? So we need to move, the point I'm trying to make is, Asians cannot have as much car ownership levels as taken for granted.
You give very short answers. Government, what's bad working in the government? Do you have any problem,
It's not a question of good or bad, but I think we've all just become so used to this idea that the government is the enemy, it's no good. My friends, if we don't have strong institutions of the state run by the best people, we are all in trouble. Public good is not provided by McDonald's, Starbucks, or entrepreneurs. Public good is only provided by the institutions of the state. To underpay them, suggest that only the weak go there, is to deny how we will exist. That's my point. Can I make just one more point, just to add to controversy? The suggestion that human existence will inevitably will be through urbanization, I think needs to be challenged. Now, if you buy into the established economic flavor, which is that human beings and GDP is a measure of human productivity, and therefore productivity is measured through urbanization, fine and good. But if you understand that we will need to grow a lot of food, and that we will have to price and ecosystem services to provide all those goods, then you'll have to think differently. I don't have enough time, but I just want to say, please do not think that we had the inevitability of urbanization. Just in China in 2008, when we had the financial crisis, when Europeans and Americans couldn't buy our toys, I think 38,000 factories just in Guangdong province closed down. Where did all those people go? They went back to the rural areas. So the rural areas are not seen as that place that subsidizes the productivity under price of the urban area. And of course, in the urban area, we have the majority of disenfranchised. How many bigger cities do we need in Asia that are unmanageable, unlivable? So I would challenge the notion that large cities are our future. We might want to think differently again. Let's slay some sacred cows in front of Brahmins. Yeah.